Well, first of all, Europe and Asia has to work together on climate change. So it's important that leaders meet at all kind of levels. We've just seen all the very important meetings in New York, which is very much on the record. We also have ASEM, which is the Asia-Europe meeting, where 51 leaders and foreign ministers from Asia and Europe meet regularly. We're going to have an important meeting coming up in Luxembourg on the 5th, 6th of November. But in addition to that, you really need to have other fora where experts, academics, think tanks, NGOs, researchers, young people can meet to discuss these issues. And that's what's going on right here in Paris at this conference organized by ASEF and the French Asia Centre. Well, there's no doubt that Europe is more united on this issue than Asia is. We have had some various views within Europeans, but we are more and more close to a common position, and I think the Europeans, as I say in my closing speech today, the Europeans, the European Union is really leading the way on climate change. And we are happy to share our experience with others in the world, Asians and others. But it's very clear that just a few weeks before COP21 in Paris, that things have changed. I happen to have a Danish passport, so I followed very closely the last big COP meeting in Copenhagen, as you know, some years ago, where there was a big split. And there we have seen that a number of Asian countries, not least China, has really moved on climate change. So I think that there are different views among Asians, and that is fully understandable. Asia is not united like the European Union. We can't compare the two. But some major players in Asia now understand the challenge of climate change, are doing great work, and are moving in the direction of what we do in Europe. Hopefully, the fact that some Asians are doing this can also inspire other Asians to be closer to European positions, and we hope that there will be a successful outcome of COP21 in Paris. I don't think we want to teach lessons, and I think this seminar over 2 days, and you know this is a fourth in a series of meetings. There was a meeting in Beijing, in Almaty, in Bangkok, and now we are in Europe just a few weeks before Paris. This is the place where you can really interact, where you can discuss, and there's not a teacher and a student. I mean, we all have to learn from each other. I think Europeans learn a lot from Asia in many respects, but I also think that Asian leaders and the people of Asia now can see some of the damages coming from climate change. If you look at the natural catastrophes, disasters, more and more disasters are taking place in Asia, pollution and so on. There is now a great understanding for the need to do something. And here again, if we can get young people, researchers, NGOs, think tanks involved in this, they can also tell their governments that they want change. So it's not a question of Europe teaching Asia. I think it's a question of Asians seeing for themselves that there are some challenges in the field of climate change which have to be tackled. And then there's Europe who will say, we have taken the lead and we are happy to share with you how we have done that in different areas. And of course I'm aware that a number of countries in Asia are developing countries, and that's why we're also looking at financing. We have to look at how we can finance some of the projects in the field of climate change, and the European Union is doing that already. Well, the main point for us is that the agreement has to be legally binding. This is really what we are going for. It was not possible in Copenhagen some years ago. This time things have moved on. We see the impact of climate change. We think that the people of Asia can see also the impact of climate change and also in other areas of the world. So this is the key point that we will be pushing for. You mentioned some countries which, of course, will be a challenge during the negotiations. We think it's very positive that China has moved on. We hope that others will move on. We still have some weeks to go. There's a lot of outreach, high-level diplomatic activity. So yes, we are optimistic for COP21 in Paris, and we will use all channels. Some will be public, some will be non-public, to influence as much as possible key players in Asia. Yes, there will be an ASEM foreign ministers meeting on the 5th, 6th of November in Luxembourg, chaired by Mrs. Mogherini, the EU High Representative. These foreign ministers meetings take place every 2 years. Last time it was in India, this time it will be in Europe. And one of the items on the agenda of this meeting of 51 foreign ministers will be climate change, combined with disaster management, because I think this is also the area, as I said before, where a lot of people in Asia can see the negative impact of climate change. They can see it in the area of disasters, natural catastrophes. So there will be a debate where 51 foreign ministers around one table will discuss climate change and disaster management, and just a few weeks before COP21 starts. And we hope that this will also be an opportunity to pass messages, to share lessons. And as always in ASEM meetings, it's a great opportunity for bilateral meetings. There will be a lot of ministers who will meet in the margins, not at 51, maybe 2 together or in small groups, and climate change will be high on the agenda.